Wear Your Cape to Work is a podcast about professional project managers who we think are truly the superheroes at every organization. And we want you to hear their stories to be inspired to wear your own cape to work. I'm Trina Schatz, and today my co-host Matthew Sparks and I are interviewing Stephen Hall, a project manager from the Fairlife Milk Company. He's been at Fairlife for over 11 years, and he has a very interesting career path. He started on the floor, so to speak, in process and production management, and then made his way into project management where he truly found his calling. He's a PMP, and he manages diverse projects now in areas like production optimization, process improvement, facility expansion, and product innovation. He believes in the Fairlife mission to nourish the modern world, and today he's going to share some of his favorite stories about carrying that mission through to his work. Thank you so much for joining us today, Stephen.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Maybe the first best question should be, which Fairlife milk product do you love the best?
My go-to when I go to the cooler at the office is the nutrition plan chocolate and the nutrition plan vanilla. Those are my go-tos.
You guys have a cooler at the office where they can
Oh
just go
yeah.
grab them. That's awesome. I don't know
Yep.
why
I
I
love
didn't
Oh
it.
put that
yeah.
together. That's so cool. I love that
Oh,
chocolate
you'll like
milk. I
chocolate.
mean,
Yep.
I don't know if I don't really love to drink chocolate milk except Fairlife's chocolate milk. I don't know what that is. I like chocolate milk. It's a great idea, but I could just there's something so much smoother and creamier about it.
I don't know about everybody's little kids, but mine can be particular eaters, I guess is a nice way to say that. And sometimes it's good just to get the protein in them, right? That's what I need is the calories and the high quality, product to get in them. So it's nice to share with the kids.
What a cool idea to really revolutionize, taking milk and deconstructing it and putting it back together in a way that, reduced sugar and elevated protein and brought some of these values that you just talked about, to the traditional milk that we just take for granted. It's just sitting there in the fridge.
Got two young daughters here at home and they both go for the strawberry. Like
That's
that's
awesome.
that's their
It's
go-to.
pink.
Yep.
It's pink.
It, yep. Yep.
We all met at PMI Global Summit, which was awesome. It was an event for those of you who are listening in Los Angeles this last September, and it was a gathering of PMPs and other project professionals who came together for programming and coursework and certifications and vendor exploration. It was a super event. We're so glad that we met you there. Did you have any particular wins at that event for yourself personally? Reasons you needed to go, reasons you wanted to go, things you came away with?
I'm always looking to see what's the next big thing. How can I work more efficiently? And that's what ultimately drives me to these conventions is just to make sure that I'm staying right on the leading edge. So is the tool I'm currently using meeting my needs? Mostly, yes. But are there other options out there to help drive collaboration, help ensure we're limiting risk, and really make sure we're using the most robust tool to meet the business needs?
Is it always about robust, like you're looking for probably new features? I saw a lot of that at the event. Or is it more
Yes.
we have a certain pain point that we have to solve that's just come up or is new?
Yeah, I think you're right there, right? Maybe robust isn't the right word for it. It has to be user friendly, easy to deploy, and like the new buzzwords in all of these tools has all been AI, which is actually something we've started to be very careful with at Fairlife and how it uh, compiles the data and whether it's
Mm,
truly private and contained within
mm.
uh, the tool's ecosystem or like where ChatGPT, unless you're quite savvy, you could be uploading all your data to the web where it's unsecured actually. So uh, it does take quite a bit of work to make sure our tools and our processes are protecting our intellectual property that makes Fairlife great, right? So we can continue to deliver, the highest quality product to our consumers in the safest way possible. So AI, while it has a lot of good, uh, workflow aids, and it really helps with a lot of things, it's a very fine line that you don't want to cross with, letting any of your intellectual property out there to the world. We're always looking for that next competitive advantage. And ours ultimately is our proprietary process in the way we filter and recombine our milk. And it would be detrimental to the business and to our customers if that technology was leaked, uh, through the course of trying to do
Mm.
something, efficiently with like an AI chatbot, and just the end user had no idea what they were actually doing.
That's really interesting because I'm thinking, okay, data as far as like our information, things that we're measuring, but you're talking about the secret sauce. This is like the secret recipe, and all of that proprietary, process that
Yeah.
your company is using. I wasn't even thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, could you imagine if someone from KFC is like, how can I make my 13 herbs and spices more efficient?
I know.
And next thing everybody knows, right?
Or how
Yes.
can I better source these 13 ingredients that may be key or otherwise, right? Yeah, I
I
think
Yeah.
went to
the
KFC
points.
too. Straight up nod to Kentucky Fried Chicken for
Yeah,
Yep, there
that.
you
I'm
go.
so there on the secret recipe. Are there any
that
other
trade
secret
secret.
recipe ones?
Coke.
Oh yeah, Coke. Am I right that McDonald's has like the a different Coke recipe in their fountains than everybody else?
That's what I always hear. I don't know if that's true or not. And Coca-Cola is our big brother, right? So
Right. I thought maybe you
Hmm.
knew. I was sort of going, "Oh, does Fairlife
I don't
know?"
know. I do not know.
That's
There's
awesome.
it's a little extra sweet, little something special there in it, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Um, I want to know some secrets though about Fairlife. Mostly not really secrets, but I do think that we want to talk about this great mission that we talked about with you on another occasion of this idea
Yeah.
of nourishing the modern world. That like you don't read a mission statement like that on every manufacturing company's website. It was profound. It's so short. As a marketing person, I was like, wow, that really nails a very big aspiration in a short little phrase. And, can you really do that? And yet you're telling us some stories that really hit home all the time at the company. So if you
Yeah.
want, we'd love to hear some.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you said that, on a regular basis, you're hearing stories from customers or, people out in the wild that are using your products for actual sheer health and
Yes.
nourishment where they can't have any other, food at all.
Yes, absolutely. So, like, even on a personal level, I've had two family members that have used Fairlife products for life-sustaining meals while they were hospitalized. So that was an interesting, very close to home application of how the Fairlife products aren't just for, you know, athletics and weightlifting, right? It actually helps sustain life. And then we also had a kid uh, using our products through multiple open heart surgeries. It was recommended by the hospital, actually. It was the most efficient way to get protein and calories into his body while still limiting the sugar intake, right? With our products having significantly reduced sugar compared to our competitors, it was a very efficient way of keeping this patient healthy. And he actually came and toured our facility, so it was pretty humbling to hear the story, and it was even more striking to see him in real life, come to our facility and tour the site and see, how the magic happens, right? How we put it in a bottle and provide that to our customers.
And if this
All
real
that.
life example right there, on the floor, talking to you, um, does it bring that mission closer to your project work then? I mean, you're a project manager. I'm thinking it even brings it closer to
Yes.
the manufacturing work, but maybe talk a little bit about how the mission blends in or bleeds into or
Yes.
even informs your work at work?
Just gonna
Yeah.
say, I feel like that even ties into your story if you want to make that your
Oh, yeah.
second part about how you ended up where you are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And way, you go way back in Fairlife's history here, even, 8 or 10 years ago, we had a motto of believe in better, right? And there's always that next iteration of the product. There's always that next big thing that we could push out that's a little bit better, right? So we're always iterating on our process, and that's what led me to where I'm at, right? I started, as you mentioned earlier in the intro, is I started out on the production floor, and I just kept asking myself, what's next? How can I contribute more, right? We've got, best in class products, and how can I help contribute to that continued growth and success for the brand? So I ended up working my way out of operations, working on the production lines, which is actually quite an enjoyable thing, working with your hands every day, um, through the management infrastructure, up into project management, where I started opening up and starting up new production lines throughout the facility. So we're up to 5 production lines in this facility in
Oh, wow.
Coopersville. And, keeping in mind that mission that we have to nourish the modern world, that ties right into my project work. And we know how these products can affect people's lives, day in, day out, being able to have safe, reliable, well manufactured in the United States dairy products that are lactose free. So they're broad appeal to people with sensitivity to lactose as well. So when you may be having a rough day, right? Maybe you're actualizing some risks on one of your projects, and you just got to remember you got to
Mhm.
remember why we're all here, right? Why we're doing what we do at
Mhm.
Fairlife to nourish the modern world. When you think of those kids that they have nothing else to eat, they're maybe they can't have hospital food, right? And you can reach for that strawberry core power or that vanilla nutrition plan, and that's what gets you, the sustenance you need to get through the day. It's really humbling when you think about how you've contributed to helping make the world better through dairy, right? You
Mhm.
wouldn't think of that.
Right. Well, through projects. I mean, through work,
Yeah,
right? I mean, when
yeah,
it
yeah,
boils down
exactly.
to it, you're at a company, and while you have this great end goal and a project success, right? Whether it's just getting those particular items onto shelves, or if it's, I know you guys are building a new facility, a production facility in New York, I think that I read,
Yes,
and
yes, we are.
bigger projects like sustainable packaging. I think I read that you guys are trying to by 2025 get 100% sustainable packaging for the product. I mean,
Yes,
those are big pieces of
yep.
work that someone manages for that great end goal. You talk about how those high level initiatives translate into production work and how you manage that, what your role is and how that becomes a reality.
Yeah, yes, for sure. So as project managers, we are the execution arm of the business strategy. So if you kind of think of a bridge going over a river, you've got the strategy on one side, and then you've got the deliverable on the other. Project management is that bridge. We're moving people from the strategy through the execution to that final delivery. And when it's something like, hey, we want to be, carbon neutral by 2030, and the first pillar of that is um, reducing the PET in our sleeves, going to maybe a clear bottle eventually. Um, that for us, that starts in commercialization, and in all reality, even before that, I would say step point five is R&D, to make sure that our product
Right.
we can maintain the same level of quality in our product, with a clear bottle and a different film, because the way light interacts with the product, it can degrade the flavor. So,
Wow.
that's going to start in R&D, work its way through commercialization. How does the brand look? Does that fit our brand? And then it comes, to the site, to where we need to look at how do the new labels run on the machines? How do you manage the new bottles? How are they interacting with all of our different equipment? And from there, you go into a testing and validation, kind of a startup and commissioning phase, where you maybe run, one batch of product, and you would stress test that product in a cooler, in an ambient space, and in an incubator where you're really stressing it in an environment where it would never see it. Like, we would incubate our product in 90 plus degrees Fahrenheit uh, for up to 60 days, to where you would really stress that product. And if it can survive in the incubator, you can say with very high confidence that it will be of the highest quality that we're used to, and
Hmm.
it'll still taste right, and it can sit on the shelf for our consumers. So we go through
Wow.
there's really a lot of moving parts when it comes down to managing a project. Even as simple as or nuanced as, you get into, and going carbon neutral, right? Like, there's a lot that
Hmm.
goes into that. And it's like, well, it looks easy on paper. You're going to change the bottle, change the label, just do it.
Right. Check, 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 check. Right.
Yep.
Wow.
um,
You're at this intersection of strategy, and actual execution. That is why we really believe that the project manager or the program manager, is that crux, is that superhero, is that I'm holding all this together in this really neat intersecting way. And what are some of your other project superpowers, Steve?
yeah, so something that's stands out to me is just the relationships I've been able to build over the last 11 and a half years at Fairlife. As a project manager, we get pulled in every direction, and I've been very fortunate to take advantage of uh, our explosive growth, and maybe not even take advantage of it. I've been part of the growth, right? Like, I haven't just been riding the wave, I've been part of the push that has made Fairlife great. And through that process, I've been very fortunate to run projects everywhere from new line builds, safety, quality initiatives, processing initiatives, all the way through packaging and warehouse, right? Something as simple as buying new safety equipment is one of our capital projects we run, all the way up to, hundreds of millions of dollars building new or expanding our production facility and adding new production lines. And
New
that
lines.
relate exactly, yeah. And building those, really expanding on my social and political alliances is one of my
Mm.
superpowers. Is really having a very robust network of trusted project resources, right? From general contractors to our hourly employees right on the floor, right? And putting this more in like a project management perspective, they're all stakeholders, right? Everywhere from our hourly folks that I'm using as my subject matter experts, and how my project work will affect them. And for me, having worked on the floor for 6 plus years at Fairlife, I
Yes.
understand what it's like. So I go
Hmm.
in there and keep my finger on the pulse to understand, how am I affecting your day, right? When I
Hmm.
put a new label out here, when I put a new testing method in place, right? And what helps ground us is having that mission statement. It's so important to everybody to remember why we're all here, why we're all doing what we do. So that, for me, that's one of my uh, one of my most important superpowers that I use every day is the social game, and being able to work super cross functionally. And Fairlife's not as flat as it used to be as far as an org
Mm.
structure goes, but I mean, I'm working on an office remodel right now, where I go from working with our CEO and senior leaders and VPs. And in the same, you turn around with the office remodel and you go and you work with the front office and hourly operations to understand how's this affecting you, right? So we're working both ends of this business. It's pretty cool to be in a project management role and be able to work super cross functionally. It speaks really well to uh, my my ADHD brain and being able to jump nimbly from person to person. It's really a lot of fun.
How can you take that first step in really putting yourself in someone else's shoes? Like that.
Idea that we're all trying to get to this same destination, convey that to everybody so that everybody understands that we're in this together as a team and we want to better improve X by implementing Y and get wherever you need to go from there, right? I think is a good way to do it. Really just have that ear and that shoulder to be there for them, right? I think
Mm.
Steve, I feel that through him, just
Mhm,
Yeah.
fundamentally
mhm.
speaking, yeah.
Yeah. And it helps me, like I've been there for so long. I've worked in so many different disciplines throughout the organization. It definitely helps with that empathy and being able to connect. And for me, it's understanding my stakeholders' reality, right? When I'm talking to our plant director, who's in charge of all of the operations for our
Mhm,
site, or whether I'm talking to a safety or quality manager, being able to put on that hat or look through their lens and understand their world uh, really makes all the difference to the business. And we're all there to meet the needs of the business in our own unique ways. And as
mhm,
project managers, we're in a very interesting, a very exciting position to be able to be a legitimate, jack of all these trades, right? Where we're really masters of project management, and we get to be, kind of an we get a minor in all the other departments, right?
I love that so much. I was like, "How's he gonna do this? How is he gonna say?" But I
Uh,
get exactly what you're saying, that you're
Yep,
minoring in, the person that's on the production line. You're minoring in the stakeholders here and there. You're minoring. Oh, I love that.
yep,
I do
yeah.
too.
So,
The finance, the business, the
Yes.
all of it. Yeah.
I was looking at your LinkedIn profile. And by the way, everyone who's listening, you should all list your superpowers on your LinkedIn profile. But I was looking at Steve's, and he has quite a few impressive things listed there. But one of them at the very end of your list of impressive superpowers that I found very interesting was quote unquote attitude changes. Can you tell us just a little bit about what you mean when you wrote attitude changes are one of your skills?
so, so some of it is more matching energies, managing expectations, and understanding people's realities, right? And understanding how they're viewing the world, right? Or are viewing our
Mhm.
projects, our initiatives, how we're
Mm,
managing
mhm,
managing day to day. So attitude changes for me is it's also selling and influencing. Um, you know, it stakeholder management can be really tricky. So being able to influence and give people a little bit of an attitude adjustment, or for me, if I need an attitude adjustment, right? Am I
mhm,
approaching this the right way? Am I remembering that mission statement or why we're doing the project, right? How does this project meet the needs of the business? So for me, it goes back to grounding, level setting, making sure that people are aligned to those expectations. So well, managing the attitudes can be a little bit tricky sometimes, but
It's one of my favorite skills that I've ever heard somebody list
yes,
on their LinkedIn.
me
Honestly,
too.
uh, I'm
the immediate question that came to my mind is how many attitudes did you, change before you realized you had this gift where you could,
no.
get the
That's a good question. I
Oh,
like it.
maybe it's just a different way of listing, selling and influencing or,
Mhm,
communication
yeah.
skills. At the end of the day,
sure.
that's really what that is for me.
Yeah. I think many project managers that we're talking to on the Wear Your Cape to Work podcast have found those skills as they've done their work, right? And isn't it like that for all of us? We're at a company, you start to recognize, oh, I was good at that again. Oh, I was good at that again. Oh, look at me being good at that
Yep.
again. And you start to recognize those skills, and they're different for all of us. And so I really appreciate you sharing that you had that one. Do you feel like you knew as you were as your trajectory went towards project management that you were going to be suited to that role? Do you
You
think?
know, it was a little surprising initially because I'd always seen myself on a trajectory to work my way into management, eventually look at being like a plant manager, plant
Hmm.
director, whatever that title may be. And I'd end up through my career finding working my way from packaging to processing. I spent some time in warehouse where when we started up our fourth line, it started to become really obvious like, okay, I can lend really well to starting these systems up. And that was my
Mm,
first foray into project management as a startup
yeah,
manager for that line. Kind of my first step into project management. And I really thrived in the chaos of being throughout the entire organization. And I never looked back. Like it fit my personality so well and being able to move and be agile and work with all these different people across all these different departments. It was just like I just fell right into it. It was meant to be.
that's really
Did you
great.
have any challenges, or was it really just kind of kismet
Mm,
on getting things up and running?
that's a good question.
The biggest challenges I have, and it's and the only example I have is from Fairlife. I'm sure it's like this everywhere, is when I first went into project management, we had a very juvenile approach to project management. A
Yeah.
lot of it we outsourced. So, from an internal project management perspective, we didn't have any tools. We didn't have a lot of experience with that. And we always hired
Hmm.
contractors to do it for us because, you're outsourcing a project manager. They're very good at project management, but what they do not know is they do not know our business. And it takes a
Mm,
long time for people to learn that.
Hmm.
Where I was able to learn project management and ultimately secure my PMP
yeah,
with the foundational knowledge of our business. So I'm not the
that's a
first
real
project
asset.
manager. Yeah, so I'm not the first project manager Fairlife had, but I'm in the top three.
Hmm.
And I'm one of the first with a PMP. There was one of our other program managers came from Coca-Cola with a PMP, but I think I was the second project manager at Fairlife with a PMP.
Do
So
you, okay, so now I
It's
have kind of,
impressive.
yeah, I have like I guess I just go right to this question of a growing company, and you guys have grown. I mean, I think very quickly. I don't know what the actual measurement of quick growth is out there, but it seems quickly and successfully. And like you're saying, you're outsourcing project management, and then now you're doing this in-house and it's people that do understand your business, but you're still building these from us. We're just getting started. The traction's happening. We're getting the wheels moving on our project management office.
yep.
And now we're deciding about the tools that we're going to use, but not just that, like the workflows and approvals and how do we manage risk and decide these things. One, my question is, did you consult with an outside organization to help you set that up? And two, as you grow, do you feel like that becomes easier, more challenging? I mean, what's your take in a growing company about what a growing company really needs to keep in mind as they keep that forward progress?
So even going back a full year from now to the PMI Global Summit in Atlanta,
Hmm.
to the Global Summit in Los Angeles. So again, a lot of networking. I wish I could get more people involved in those networking exercises to make sure that we're following industry trends, we're following best practices. We just put 5 more people through PMP training prep course. So hopefully on staff here, we'll see 5 more PMPs come through on the Fairlife side within the next few months.
Wow.
And we have consulted, thank you. We have consulted with some other businesses. There are a handful of trusted contractors we've used in the past where we're asking for their insight on our existing tool that we use. We are always doing development and process improvement on that. Um, One of our next big process improvements we're looking at doing is fully integrating our request for authorization into a digital form. So getting it out of Excel,
Right.
which which is interesting to think. So the fact that we have an Excel form that I'm sending out for signature right now is still a leap from where I was in 2018. We were literally signing a sheet of paper, saying,
Right.
"Hey, yeah,
Right.
we're going to release these
Looks
funds and
good.
go."
Check, check,
Yeah,
check.
right. So, yeah, it's a combination of, networking, using trusted resources in the project management field, and following industry trends. Going to a globally accredited certification like the PMI, PMP has helped tremendously. We have quite a few more PMPs on staff now, so that
That's
that
great.
has helped, continue to support the growth. We're all keeping our fingers crossed for when we unlock enough capacity again. It would be fantastic to bring out some of the products that we've had on the shelves before that we've
Oh,
actually
yeah.
paused production on, like coffee creamers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were ever fortunate enough to get
I
those a few
wasn't.
years
Sounds
back,
great.
but we did them in pretty small runs, and everybody's calling for us to bring them back. But right now we're focused on our core brands. So
It's
I know I
priority.
got
It's
to.
it
Yeah,
priority.
hopefully
Yeah.
that answers it for you on
Yeah, it
kind of how
does.
we can maintain and support that growth model from a project
Mhm.
management perspective.
Your point is well
Yes.
taken that companies start with something that's minimal for project management, and there's no embarrassment in that at all,
Yeah.
at whatever level. And not all of your systems move at the same rate. You're talking about some forms of project management getting, farther ahead than the spreadsheet for approvals. And that's just by
Yep.
nature of the process and what's needed. And it's not unusual for those things to happen. And our job at Project Insight and is to help companies find ways to just continue to move those processes ahead, elevate them, automate them, make them easier, especially for the project managers that are at the helm so that they can get on with the more important work like making coffee creamer. That sounds so good.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's awesome.
I can think of a few other organizations that have moved over this year away from the pen and paper signatures as
Hmm.
well. So I think there's
Yep.
no shade in you guys doing that, 6 years ago. So I think
Right,
that's great.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So everybody who's listening to us, I have a mug here that we made at the PMI Global Summit. Steve has his,
Yep.
Matt has his. We all had these made at the Project Insight booth where we took a photo of ourselves and turned them into a superhero avatar on the mug. So cheers to you all. We want to celebrate you. We know that you're wearing your
Yeah.
cape to work, Steve. Many cheers to you and what you're doing at Fairlife, and clearly the attitude that you have in yourself that you know bleeds over into the work that you're doing and touches the lives of the people that you work with and probably is contagious. It seems like it's contagious across Fairlife, yours and other employees as well.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we have a very good culture at Fairlife. It's really refreshing. It's a great place to work, and our teammates are fantastic, right? The network that I get to interact with every day, it's truly a privilege. We've got a great group here, and I think what helps is having that very clear mission statement on why we're there and why we're doing what we're doing every day is to nourish the modern world. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, we'll share all of that information in the show notes. Like and subscribe so you can follow our other podcast episodes that are coming up with other folks from across other industries. We'll share the Fairlife website and that mission statement, and you can even check it out, see a little bit more about how they work and why they work and what's coming new. We appreciate you, Steve, and thanks, Matt, for being here. I hope you all have a great rest of the day.